What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a brand new review for Married at First Sight, season 18, episode number 6, you guys. And this episode was titled Never Forget About Karla. So, before I do go ahead and get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, you guys, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Married at First Sight, shall we? All right, you guys. So this episode for me was rather boring. So I don't expect to like be on here exponentially long, but we will get into it nonetheless. So let's see, what couple do I want to start up with? Let's start up with Amem and Ikechi. When it comes to Amem and Ikechi, it's something I can't put my finger on Amem and Ikechi, and I think it's more so because of Ikechi. Because every time I look at Ikechi, I just really think to myself, like, you were you would have, you could have, and potentially would have been on Married at First Sight Houston if the experts, and I'm using air quotes, if the experts had found you a match, but the experts didn't find you a match. And so now you're here. Like, it just, for me, it doesn't come off like 100% authentic. But you guys definitely tell me if you guys are on the same wavelength and the same vibe that I'm on when it comes to Ikechi. So, because I really feel like with Ikechi is all talk. We know he write. We know he has a book. We know he does all this kind of stuff. Ikechi just feels like a bunch of words and a bunch of lip service to me, and I just don't get a genuine vibe from Ikechi. So we see as Ikechi and Imam, they were out on the patio. So Ikechi asked Imam, like, what brings her joy? And she said, over the last year, her business has brought her joy. And that's cool, right? I like that. I like hearing it, when people are in their business, is thriving and is doing good for them. That's something that I'm actually thriving for myself, is to be able to get out of the place that I'm in with my job, start my own business, and just live the life that I know I'm meant to live. So I love that for her, right? So then she asked him the same thing. And he said, his brother had a baby and he's just excited to meet the little girl, right? So he asked her she asked him if he wants kids. So he kind of paused for a little bit, but then he came back and said yes, that he does want kids. And so he asked her if she wants kids. Now, the answer that Amem gave TKG, she said that she's open to being a mom. Now, that's not necessarily saying that you want kids. That's just saying that you're open to the idea of having children. So, interesting answer. Interesting answer. When it comes to Amem and Kechi, I honestly don't know if I see them making it to the end and saying yes at decision day. Something with them is just, I feel like at this point, it's like, you have a puzzle and you have a missing piece, and you're doing everything you can to make this one piece fit, but it doesn't fit. And that's what I kind of feel when it comes to Amem and Ikechi. But again, everybody let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And so then after that, we see as they went to dinner with each other, right? So he's asking her, how does she like to be loved, right? So we find out with her that she is someone who loves physical touch. Now, more power to people who love physical touch, because that is not something that I like. I ain't never been one of the people that just likes physical touch. Nope, not for me. So, um, He asked her, has she been in love before? She said yes. She was in love with her ex fiance. She says she didn't want to say that the relationship fizzled out because it didn't. Ultimately, what happened is with Amim and her ex, they just realized that they weren't on the same trajectory or the same path with each other. So that's why the relationship ended. And it's good when you know that you guys are not equally yoked up with each other or equally matched at that point, to just end it instead of him, because he said he cheated on his ex, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? So with him, he's talking about how he wants a love like what his brother and his sister have, and his brother and sister-in-law have. People come over to the house for the holidays, just to be surrounded by the love of those two. And that's really where things ended with Imema and Ikechi. When we see what's to come this season on Married at First Sight with these two, we're gonna see that they're gonna butt heads a little bit. I don't know who is gonna be the problem. My money would be on him, but again, feel free to let me know your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions in the comments section or in the live chat if you're in the live chat. And the next thing that I want to talk about is we'll put Karla. No, should we do them? Yeah, I guess we can. Actually, no. Let's go to Camille and Thomas. So Camille and Thomas, I do like them, and it's gonna be the same thing that I've been saying for the last few weeks about Camille and Thomas. The problem with Camille and Thomas is really Thomas, and could be a little bit of Camille, but I think the real problem would be Thomas. And I just, every time you see Thomas on the screen, he looks like he's scared. Like he looked like he's seeing his own shadow, and he's scared of his own shadow. Like I'm like, and I want him to loosen up. So he took the initiative with them in this episode, and he signed them up for a salsa dancing class. I was like, okay, that's cool. I like that, right? I think that may be helpful for Camille to see, okay, he can take the lead, and he can do some things, unprompted, right? But they start the salsa class, and when they're doing the salsa class, I was like, it's one thing not to be able to dance. That's one thing, right? But the fact that with him dancing, he is very stiff and robotic like, and it's like, Thomas, you got to loosen up. Like that is my only concern when it comes to Thomas, is that I just want Thomas to loosen up a little bit, because he seems so uptight, and I just want you just to let your hair down, have some fun. And I'm wondering if that's something that he can do, because like I said, in this and with this dancing class, it won the one nor the two. But Camille and him, they both were good sports, right? So then we see as the next day they're getting ready for their day, and it finally dawned on me listening to Thomas talk. One, Thomas is monotone. It's almost like the clear eyes guy. He's very monotone in the way he talks. He's also very dry too. And then the clothes that he was wearing, I was like, wow. I mean, I know everybody doesn't have a great sense of style, but his clothes, I was like, that looks like something that you would just wear around the house. But okay, if it works for him, then it works for him. And I'm not going, knock him or anything of that nature. But I was like, okay, cool. So after that, like I said, they got ready, and we see as they went to dinner, right? No, that's we see. So they're getting ready, and we see as they're getting their day started. So after that, we then see later in the episode where Thomas was doing he was recording himself talking to the camera, right? And when he was talking to the camera, I actually felt bad for him, because he was talking about, a conversation that he and Camille had previously had, I guess, earlier in the day, where they're talking about their their past and their experiences growing up, right? So I don't know how it came up, and I don't know how Camille said it, but he was in his feelings because of their. Now I'm trying to think of the not the politically correct way to say this, but the nice way to say this. So obviously they have black in them, right? He's biracial. I can't remember if Camille is biracial or not, but either way it go, I guess with Camille has more experiences and more on the black side of her family, more experiences in the black community, whereas he has very limited, right? And he said it's come up before, I guess, in previous relationships, but it never affected him until now. And I'm like, I can probably tell you why it affected you is because this is a virtual stranger to you and you don't know her. So again, I don't know how the conversation came up, but they thought it was, I guess it was a conversation about black culture. And he's just wondering at this point if he is, in fact, enough for Camille. And I will say, I do believe that he might, like I said, I think honestly, the real problem is he's just very shy, very timid. And I don't know if that will bode well or work well for Camille. But, we'll see as the season progresses. But I think that if there's anything that's going to get in the way of Thomas and Camille, is going to be Thomas and the fact that I really do wonder what sign he is because when I look at Thomas, he kind of gives me that he is a Cancer because we are I'm a Cancer, and one thing we are is very guarded and very protective of ourselves, right? So I'm wondering what sign he is. It's not a big deal. So after that, we see as Thomas was having a conversation with Camille and basically just telling her about him growing up, right? How when he grew up, he and his brother, they're both biracial, and you know, they were teased and messed with by other black, I guess other black kids about them not being black enough. And you ask yourself, what is black enough, right? What is black enough? Because I can't even answer that question. I don't. The one thing that I never really try to do is question anybody's blackness. I really don't. That's not something that I prefer to do, right? You can ask people how did they grow up, and you can see the differences in how some people grew up versus how you grew up, right? Because you could have black people who live behind gates and they don't experience the same things that people who live regular modest lives live. So there's no I feel that there's no it's not that I feel, I know there's no one true way to identify in your blackness. So I really did feel bad for him. Then at the end of it, we see as he and Camille, they went back to the room and he put rose petals on the bed for her. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That was cute. That was cute. So next up, you guys, where do we want to go? I guess we'll talk about Madison and Alan. Now, with Madison and Allen, what I will say is I'm not a fan of Madison, but I can tolerate Madison a lot more than I can tolerate Michelle because Michelle is a absolute without a shadow of a doubt a no for me. But with Madison, I can kind of tolerate Madison. So we see as Madison and Allen went for like a spiritual cleanse, and in the midst of this, I'm just looking at Madison's body language. I'm like, you are very uncomfortable with him. Then the woman wanted them to, put their hands on each other's hearts. And even in that moment, Madison was still kind of apprehensive. I was like, girl, your nonverbal is speaking a lot louder than what you verbalized to him. And I don't know if you catching that or if you realize that, but your nonverbal speaks volumes. It's definitely saying you don't like him. You don't, because you told him in last week's episode Don't be afraid to hold your hand and all this kind of stuff. But in this week's episode, when this woman asked him to put his hands on you and you to put your hand on him, you shrink and you're reluctant to do so. So I gotta call BS when it comes to Madison, right? I really gotta call BS with Madison. Now, what I will say with Madison, although she is reluctant, I do give her a little bit of credit because she's not as rude as Michelle is, right? Because Michelle just gets on my damn nerves. But we'll get into Michelle when we get to her, right? So we also found out that while they were on this trip, that one of Alan's friends passed away. So my condolences to him, right? And so he was talking about how he pulled away from Madison, but Madison was there to, be with him and comfort him. I was like, okay, that's good. So there are some, so there you do have redeeming qualities. But the problem with Madison is I just think that Madison is very shallow and very physical, right? Because when they got back to Chicago and they got to the apartment, Madison is then talking about his physical appearance, right? How she would prefer if he take care of his body. And it's like, how do you know that the man doesn't take care of his body? Like, you do know that people do go to the gym and work out. There are some people who go to the gym just to stay in some kind of shape. They don't want to be fat, they don't want to be skinny, they don't want to have muscles, they just want to be active and in good shape, right? I'll give you guys a perfect example of somebody who I know. She works out all the time, and I see her with the guy that she works out with, Monique. Monique Kicks. She works out all the time. She does that. She dances with the guy who does the dance your pounds off, right? Monique lost a lot of weight and she's kept the weight off, but she wasn't trying to get to a size 2. She wasn't trying to get a six-pack abs, muscles or anything of that nature. She just wanted to be healthy and in good shape. So Madison, I think you need to take that preconceived notion that just because people go to the gym and work out that they want to get a washboard abs, they want to have, ripped arms and all this stuff. That's not everybody's goal in going to the gym. That may be your goal, but that may not be everybody else's goal. Then she's talking about his style. Here's the thing, Madison. Yes, he does have an eclectic style. My thing to you is give him some, since y'all are now married to each other, now that you know what you could do is ask him his size. Go buy him some nice things. Be like, I was at the store, I saw this, and I thought you might like it. Give him a little help, give him a little helpful nudge, right? I ain't even mad about the style, the clothing part. It was the lifestyle part of his work. Like he said, he goes to the gym. It's like I said, Madison is very, 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 very shallow. That is all that I got from Madison. So let's move on, you guys, and let's talk about Karla and Juan, I guess. So Karla and Juan, these two right here, they ain't gonna make it. They are two totally different people. I don't see it for Karla and Juan making it. One, because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. She wants to be a a kept woman. And with him being in a startup, girl, you're not gonna get that lifestyle with Juan until that business starts making a booming profit. You're not gonna get the lifestyle that you want from him. I just want you to know that off the rip. So we see as they had dinner by the water, and we earlier in the episode actually opened where we see Juan and David were together, right? So Juan and David, they had went to the sauna, they had done some things together, and it was the biggest smile that David has smiled since being on this honeymoon. I would imagine so, because with a heifer like Michelle, you can't help but to be down, especially with somebody like a Michelle. Oh my God! Now, Juan, you lost me in this particular scene because when you had the conversation, when you were talking to Karla, and you told Karla that that while you were with David, you completely forgot about her. Now, granted, I do believe you that you forgot about her. I absolutely believe that. But did you have to literally say that you forgot about her? I was like, damn. And her face just went down. That's why I have her as my thumbnail, because Sister Girl's face just went down. So she asked him what he likes in a relationship, right? And he told her someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously. And to that, I will say, I agree with that, right? I'm somebody, to know me is to know that I don't take myself seriously at all, right? I do have serious moments. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I don't have no serious moments. I do have serious moments, but more times than not, I don't take things that people say to heart. And I don't and I also preference people by taking things that I say, don't take it to heart. If I'm saying something to you, I'm not coming at you in a negative or malicious way. Anything that I say to you, you know, if you need clarity on what I mean, what I'm saying, ask me. So yeah, I don't take myself too seriously, and I don't want other people to take, I don't take myself seriously, and vice versa, right? If there's an issue, let's have a conversation like two adults. That did not work in this episode for Karla, because we see as Karla was talking to us, right? And Karla said that Juan went for a swim, but Juan didn't take a bag with him. And so she forgot to tell him to take a bag. I was like, Karla, that's petty as hell. That is so petty. So you mad at him, and rightfully so. You have every right and every reason to be mad at the man, but that was petty. Like, let's be for real about the whole situation. That was petty as crap. Why not sit there and just say, you know what? You hurt my feelings when you said XYZ. I didn't like that you said XYZ, and leave it at that. Leave it at that. But you went the petty route. And so they brought it up later in the they brought it up later. And actually before they brought it up, we saw them as they did a photo shoot. The photo shoot was underwater. The photo shoot was also hella awkward too. And the photo shoot is awkward because of the fact that Karla is not expressing to Juan her feelings. And it's like, girl, you doing the most. Like, you doing the most. You doing the most. And I'm not like, you should just, here's my thing. Like I said, Juan was wrong. Absolutely 100% wrong to sit there at that table and tell that girl, I forgot about you, right? There, there could have been a better way you could have said that. As of right now, I can't come up with a better way to tell your wife that you forgot about her. Actually, you didn't have to say I forgot about you. You could have easily just said, you know what, Karla, I met up with David today. We did this. We had a really, really good time. We just were able to just just get away, clear our minds, and just regroup and refocus. But you said you forgot about your wife. But okay, cool. So we see as they got back to the room, and Juan called Karla out on being passive aggressive. I was like, she absolutely is passive aggressive. And then she called him and David Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I said, there you go again with this passive aggressiveness. Just tell the man how you feel. But, Juan was like, after I really thought about it, after what I said to you and how I said it to you, he was wrong about that. And he apologized to her, right? So they also talked about living together. Juan, you come off a little bit misogynistic, just a tad bit. The way you were talking about women and women and men, I was like, ugh, I don't want to touch that one. But yeah, you guys, that's it with Karla and Juan. So who all have we talked about and that we need to talk about? So we talked about Emem and Ikechi. We talked about Camille and Thomas, Karla and Juan, Madison and Alan, and the last couple, Michelle and David. At this point, I am so tired of looking at Michelle. Michelle is annoying me. Michelle is getting on my nerves. So, Michelle met David at the beach, right? And she's sitting on the chair facing the water. David is facing her. She ain't even looking over him at him. But then she finally turned. Michelle, girl, go home, do something better with yourself because you're really working my nerves. And then this picture of you is bothering me as hell, is bothering me too, because this hair is atrocious. God, I'm sick of Michelle. I found this on the web. I'm not talking to you. Mind your business. Hey, Shayna, how are you doing today? Are you watching Married at First Sight this season? Because I know you be off and on with Married at First Sight, but let me know if you're watching it. But yeah, Michelle is really irritating my spirit. I don't know who I dislike more, Michelle or what was Alyssa? Was Alyssa which season was Alyssa on? Was Alyssa on Boston, you guys? I don't know who annoys me more, Michelle or Alyssa. I think they're equal, to be quite honest with you, because Michelle, let's talk about Michelle, right? So David is asking Michelle basically, what does she need from him? And he says to her that he doesn't want to, he won't talk over her or talk through her. And she, that's what I need. I was like, oh, I just want this girl to go home. Please give them a divorce. Like, where are the experts? And then this, and the crazy thing is, Michelle is his preference. Michelle is his preference, but she don't like him. And that's my thing with Michelle. My God, Michelle, this man, anything that like he asks you questions, he answers your questions, and you still find a way to have an issue with what he says, and it's just like he can't win for losing. Oh, Shannon, you say you watch, but you behind. Okay, okay. Well, this episode right here, it's gonna be when you get to this episode, it's gonna be a drag. It was it was a longer episode. It was this episode felt like it was longer for some odd reason. Because oh my God, it says 3 hours. I know that's because they included the after party. Here's a question to anybody who watches the after party. What's the purpose of it? I know they discussed the episode with Keisha Knight, Pulliam, and whoever's on there. I've never gotten into the after show. Do anything ever happen on the after show? Like, let me know in the comment section. Like, let me know in the comment section if anything actually happens on the after show. Because again, like I said, I've never watched the after show. Never. But Michelle, back to Michelle, right? So after they had the conversation, they went out on the water with each other and they had a great time. I was like, wow, I would have, I would have knocked that canoe, that surfboard canoe, whatever the hell it was that she was on. I would have knocked it over. But oops, my bad. I thought, I thought it was something, in coming towards you, trying to help you. So we also see as they went and they had sushi, right? Now, one thing I will say to you, David, and I'm gonna have to agree with Michelle on this one. You cuss a lot. I mean, my God, today you cuss a lot because they were bleeping everything that it wasn't everything that you were saying, but they were bleeping you, bleep, 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 bleeping you. And Michelle even said, "Do you always cuss like this?" He said, "Yes." And she asked him to dial back on it, and he agreed to dial back on it. I said, "Here we go." He's being communicative with you. He is being agreeable with you. Michelle, what is your issue? I know what your issue is, Michelle. You cannot get past the fact that this man still lives with his parents. I cannot wait until we get to the point where we actually see where he lives. If Now, if it's like a actual debate, if he lives in the actual basement, or if it's a separate part of the house that he like, I can't wait to see what we get. Now, did see in the preview, he asked, he took her and he asked her what did she think of it. She said it's what I expected. She's talking about he's a 36-year-old man, but he lives like a 20-year-old or something like that. Michelle, you're gonna find any reason to have an issue, ain't you? I can see it right now. And I can see that you're gonna irk my nerves, irk my spirit. And I'm gonna have to pray to God about you because, girlfriend, if you get on my nerves enough, I'm gonna skip you, or I'm gonna act like you don't exist. One of the two, right? So after that, they continue to get along. We see as the couples met up later in the episode for the final dinner, they're just talking about what they, talk about the trip, what they've done with each other, how they've interacted with each other, what they're expecting when they get back to Chicago to live in the shared apartments. That scene was too long for me, too boring for me, and I wasn't listening to it. So I can't tell you what anybody actually said in that scene because I stopped listening. So we see as everybody's heading to the airport, right? Michelle and David. So she didn't sit in the seat with next to him. I was like, oh my God. So she had to sit, she sat in another seat. That's like, Michelle, you are irritating. You're irritating as hell. So they get back, right? Now, before they actually got back, they talked about living together. So Michelle is like, there's nothing there between them currently. She doesn't share a connection with him. So she doesn't want to share a bed with him. Now, I'll actually give Michelle that one point right there. I do agree with that. It's like if I don't feel anything for you right now and you're still virtually a stranger to me, I don't necessarily want to share a bed with you, right? Like if there's another bedroom in the house, which there is, when I can take this room and you can take this room. And when they got there, he was like, "Oh, you can take this room," and so White said, "I can take this room." I was like, Michelle, like, damn, girl, just say, "Okay, cool, I'll take this room," because essentially it sounds like both of the rooms are the same. It's like, Michelle, you want to find any issue. Is David perfect? No. Should David have signed up for Married at First Sight? No. Did he sign up for Married at First Sight? Yes. Did you get married to him? Yes. Should you have gotten married to him? Probably not. But you are. Her negative disposition is just throwing me for a loop, and I'm not really feeling it. But that is it for the episode, you guys. If I missed anything that you guys want to discuss, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below, you guys. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, you guys, please stay safe. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in less than 30 minutes for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I got to get back to work because I got less than 30 minutes on the clock. And I'm off for the rest of the week, thank God. So I'll see you guys in at 2:30 for Beverly Hills Live. See you guys later. Bye, guys.